So let's talk about contrast. What is your definition of contrast? My definition of contrast is the difference between adjacent IR exposures, meaning is one spot black and one spot white, or do we have different shades of gray? So I went to Home Depot and I purchased all of these because I really wanted to do a black and white bathroom in gray. And so I had to get all of them, but I paid for them, okay? So anyways, so I use these to show students short and long scale. So for example, pick a card, right? If I put down a black, a gray, a light gray, and a white, is this short scale contrast or long scale contrast? This is going to be short scale contrast, right? The way I think about this is I look at these colors, right? If you were to have this color room, right? You had this light gray, and then you decide, I'm going to do a home makeover and I'm going to change it to this shade of gray. When people come over, are they going to be able to tell? Or are they going to be like, oh, those look very much the same? They're going to probably be able to tell the difference between this gray and this gray. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, you painted. Yay. Okay, so now what? So now I have a lot of shades of gray, and it takes me a very long time to get from my white all the way to my black, right? So this is going to be a long scale. Now, long scale is also known as decreased contrast because the amount of difference between these shades is not that much, right? Real life scenario. You have your bathroom painted this color and then you decide you want to paint it this color. Is anyone going to notice? I mean, maybe you'll notice, but for the most part, everyone's going to be like, how much time did you spend painting your bathroom? That was like nothing. Now, if you go from like this color to like this color, nope, I didn't, out of camera view, right? Then you're going to definitely be able to tell, right? So that would be high contrast. So these two right here are high contrast, but when they are in this scale right here, this is considered long scale. Now, what about this? I now have black, gray, 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 and I don't have any white values. Is this short scale or long scale? It's still long scale. The difference between adjacent IR exposures. So the difference between this color and this color is very, very faint. Therefore, telling me that I have long scale contrast, decreased contrast, or low contrast. Now, if I had, let's say, just these three, right? Short scale contrast, also known as increased contrast, also known as high contrast. The difference between this and this, pretty extreme. Well, that wasn't the best example. Wait. The difference between this and this, pretty extreme. The difference between this and this, pretty extreme. So this is going to be short scale, but as I have less differences between adjacent IR exposures, it's going to become long. So short scale, it's going to be a black and white image, also known as high contrast and increased contrast. Both of these terms in the short scale, those can all be used interchangeably. Now, it's normally caused from a low KDP, though we can change our image contrast with lookup tables and histogram. We're not going to talk about that right now. This is going to change the subject contrast because it's going to create more photoelectric effect and less Compton's effect with that lower KDP. More to come on that. So if you're not already following the silly X-ray goose, she's got a lot of great funny videos. I like the way she teaches and everything. But I stole this from her. I didn't steal, I'm sharing, I'm borrowing, and my students loved it, so I would like to share it on with you. It's a high, short, black and white penguin to help you remember all the terms for short scale. So think of a black and white penguin who is short and doing illegal things that we don't know anything about. Then, contrast, difference between adjacent IR exposures, that's how I abbreviate IR exposures. And then when we talk about long scale is going to happen from it's going to happen from a high KVP, which means we're going to have more Compton interactions occurring and less photoelectric effects occurring inside the human body. It's also known as low contrast and decreased contrast. So somebody might look at an image and say, this is decreased contrast compared to short scale contrast. All of these terms can be used interchangeably, but a long scale is going to be more gray. A silly goose taught me long gray elephant, right? So I'm thinking of lots of grays happening. So remember, difference between adjacent IR exposures. Short scale is also going to be known as high and increased contrast, very black and white. Low KVP is the cause of the subject contrast. More photoelectric effect, more Comptons. Long scale is also known as low contrast, decreased contrast. It's going to be a more gray image. It's from a higher KDP for subject contrast, which means more competence occurring in the body, less photoelectric. Notice how I abbreviate photoelectric because I'm going to show you all these abbreviations over and over.